Hey, Evan, how you doing? Dr. Ryan here from Fundamental Health. Hope you're having a great Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I wanted to take a quick minute. I'm trying to do something almost every single day to my community and just teach people about their health. So I wanted to take a quick minute today during my lunch and just go over what we're taught in school as the three T's. And we're taught this in chiropractic school because basically you want to address these three T's if you can. It gets down to the root problem of what your issue may be, whether it's neuromusculoskeletal or nutritional, whatever it may be. And the three T's are pretty simple. It's trauma, thoughts, and toxins. So as a chiropractor, I do have trauma all day long, whether it's repetitive traumas, whether it's you slept wrong, whether it's you got in a car accident or you slipped and fell. We do have trauma all day long, and we do have that very well. We're very efficient at treating those kinds of conditions. So that's one way in which your body can be having a problem and you're going to respond to it accordingly. Okay. The other one is toxins, and this one seems to fly under the radar. Not a lot of practitioners look at this very efficiently or effectively. What sets me apart here is I'm actually going to look at that part. I'm going to look at a toxin. So a toxin is anything from air pollution to a chemical to something you ate or drank or were exposed to on the skin, or you name it. It can be all kinds of different things. It could be infection. It could be some low-grade infection that you're exposed to that over time has manifested and caused symptoms. And a lot of people don't really know to look for these things, or you'll go to your medical doctor and they'll run some routine lab tests or blood tests or whatever it may be, and they'll come back and they'll say, oh, it's normal. You're fine. It's all in your head. Go home type of thing. And I use some very advanced labs, some labs that you probably never heard of, and they get really down into detail of what the problem is or what it may be. Maybe you have a low-grade infection like I talked about. Maybe you have heavy metals that have accumulated in your soft tissues and are causing symptoms. Or maybe you have a hole that's been leaked in your gut, and now nutrition's off into the bloodstream and it's causing damage to the bloodstream and being brought places like the brain and other areas where it's not meant to be brought. It's meant to be kept in your gut. So I have these testing solutions that can basically find out a lot of these key problems. So I'm very good at testing for the traumas and the toxins and dealing with those, and I think that's what sets me apart as a practitioner, is I deal with two out of the three T's. The other T is the thoughts. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't do a lot with thoughts. I recommend if depression or something along those lines is what you're suffering from, that you get that kind of help. And I respect those individuals, those specialists who do that kind of work, because it's very important. Because once again, it's part of the three T's. It's part of these three pillars that really hold up you as a foundation and allow you to be healthy. So by taking those routes, seeing somebody for the thoughts, seeing somebody for the toxins, seeing somebody for the traumas, you're going to be well sought after and you're going to be, truly healthy. I was watching a webinar the other night, and the guy was talking about there's a difference between being fit and being healthy. And I sat there for a second. I was like, well, what is he referring to? And he was eventually referring to these three T's that I talked about, but he explained how there's a lot of people who look fit or look skinny or look healthy who deep down are not healthy. Maybe they have a ton of toxins. Maybe their thoughts aren't right. So they have issues going on. Someone who works out every day and looks really healthy could have a heart attack. Well, why is that? Because there's more to it than just, looking and feeling healthy necessarily. So I think it's important to have all three of those pillars in place. And just a side note on the thoughts, I thought I'd throw it in there. I read something from a lab the other day too. They're testing for basically concussions or repetitive hits to the head, whether it's boxing, soccer, football, these different sport type injuries where you have repetitive hits to the head that also cause micro tears in the blood vessels and can leak nutrients across from the blood into the brain. So you have this barrier that protects the brain from the rest of the world or the rest of the body, so that nutrients don't leak into the brain and you don't have things that shouldn't be going to the brain. Well, oftentimes with these head injuries, the vasculature that's going to the brain starts to have cuts and tears in them and starts leaking nutrients across that barrier, and then you have some systemic problems or problems with the brain and the rest of the nervous system. So something along those lines can definitely excuse me, can definitely affect your thoughts. So when I'm doing the lab work, excuse me, when I'm doing the lab work and I'm working with a lot of the toxins, I can find out a lot of that information. So indirectly, I can affect thoughts. But like I said, somebody who really specializes in that area, I recommend you getting that kind of help. Well, that's what I want to go over today. Hopefully I didn't take too much of your time, and hopefully you might have learned something. Keep that in mind. Everything you do, traumas, thoughts, toxins, the 3 T's, they're the pillars of good health. Do everything in your power to make sure that you're supporting those pillars and that you're staying as healthy as you can. Dr. Ryan checking out. Until next time.